It is an especially dangerous time right now for Ukraine and the United States. While Putin suffers military setbacks, his rhetoric has become more aggressive and scary. So this is a really, really bad time for a leak of sensitive information likely to rile up the Russians, in particular Putin, further against Ukraine. Yet that is exactly what happened when the New York Times published a report yesterday on how U.S. intelligence believes the Ukrainian government was behind a car bombing which killed the daughter of a prominent Russian nationalist. Times reports that the Ukrainian government authorized the attacks against Darya Dugina without the knowledge or support of the U.S., Dugina's father, leading proponent of escalation against Ukraine. The Times reports, quote, "The United States took no part in the attack, either by providing intelligence or other assistance," officials said. American officials also said they were not aware of the operation ahead of time and would have opposed the killing had they been consulted. Afterward, American officials admonished Ukrainian officials over the assassination. They said, okay, sounds like good cover for the U.S., but shame on whoever leaked this. They've just made a potentially dangerous situation that much more perilous. The Times report went on to spell out the potential consequences here. While Russia has not retaliated in a specific way for the assassination, the U.S. is concerned that such attacks, while high in symbolic value, have little direct impact on the battlefield and could provoke Moscow to carry out its own strikes against senior Ukrainian officials. And I worry about even worse, as if Putin needed another push to go over the cliff. Already in recent days, he's illegally annexed 4 Ukrainian regions and claimed them as Russian territory. And last week he said he plans to use all the means available to us, including various weapons of destruction, which is a clear nuclear weapons threat. Sure, he suspected maybe the Ukrainian government, but now he seems to know for sure. I also hope the New York Times thought long and hard about the implications. I'm not saying they should not have published. I am saying that I think responsible news organizations often need to be, well, more responsible when it comes to a major life and death issue. It was just downright dangerous to release this information at this point in the conflict. So what could have motivated the leaker? Who might have done it? Joining us now is Larry Pfieffer, former senior director of the White House Situation Room under President Obama. He's also served as chief of staff to the CIA director during the Bush administration. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. All right, so who do you think may have been motivated to leak this at this time?
So what I'd like to start is by saying I can't confirm that that intelligence report actually exists. I don't have any intimate knowledge that it exists, so no one should read my being here as confirmation that the report is accurate. That being said, if the report is accurate, I'd like to note that it is highly unlikely that it was intelligence community members that actually leaked this information. There's no benefit or gain for a member of the intel community to be leaking this information to a reporter. The New York Times report talks about how this material, that the source of the material were people who were briefed on this matter. So the intelligence community was probably doing an assessment of the assassination and now was going around the executive branch and perhaps to the congressional oversight committees and others up on Capitol Hill to brief them on their findings.
Well, do you think that they were doing this? Let's assume you're right for a moment. Would they have been doing this to sort of publicly say the U.S. didn't know about it? I mean, was that the most important thing that they wanted to get out there? It seems to me that's still awfully dangerous stuff to be pointing the finger directly at the Ukrainians.
I would agree with you. The leak could have come from some executive branch member. It could have come from somebody up on Capitol Hill. I don't see, again, a lot of positive gain for the administration to be putting this material out because it feeds the Russian propaganda machine about how evil the Ukrainian government is, and it suggests that they're doing terrorist attacks against civilian targets. So kind of runs counter to what I think the administration would want to do. With that one exception you mentioned, I think it's more likely that this is somebody who's an opponent to the Ukrainian policy of the Biden administration. So it suggests to me perhaps this leak came from somebody up on Capitol Hill.
How dangerous a leak do you think this is?
Well, any leak of classified information is dangerous for a variety of reasons. From my little tribe, my concern, of course, is that a good source or method could be compromised and prevent us from getting other additional great intelligence down the pike. But from a geopolitical perspective, you hit the nail on the head. This just gives Putin what he could consider confirmation of what he's already said has happened. It could then allow him to justify in a public way why he would then accelerate or increase attacks on civilian targets. Not that he has needed any excuse to go against civilian targets in the country, but it allows him to justify them.
Yeah. Larry, thanks very much for coming on the program. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.